Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, my majestic universe, I am Tiger Height, and this is our review and highlights of WWE Fastlane. If you enjoy this video, let me know down below in the comments, subscribe, and like. Without further ado, let's kick into it with the Raw Women's Championship match between Becky Lynch and Lacey Evans. Hard to believe that Becky Lynch was the main event of WrestleMania, and now she is the curtain jerker. That's fantastic. Anyway, Becky Lynch came into this match with a house of fire, just lighting up Lacey Evans as much as possible. Becky royally fucked up a springboard, which is super odd. She just could not get this thing to save her life. Like a face-first slam into like a gator roll thing for Lacey Evans, which led into this violent wrap around the pole on Becky Lynch, so the ribs were the point of target for Lacey Evans. There was a weird pin counter by Becky Lynch. It was odd. Michael Cole called this move a cross arm breaker to disarm her. Nothing wrong with it. Just Michael Cole's shitty commentary. Becky Lynch getting a mandible claw on Lacey Evans. Beck-sploder for a 2. There was a leg drop miss by Becky Lynch. I just hate it when they miss that shit. There was a weird springboard stunner by Evans. It hit a lot better than it did at the last pay-per-view, Money in the Bank. I will say that. But finally, it was a disarm her for Lacey Evans to tap out immediately. Becky Lynch is still the champ, despite me not liking the fact that Becky Lynch is starting the show. It was a fun opener. I have no problem with it. There was a really cool Ali segment. I like this whole I am a caped crusader kind of a thing. Except it's not Caped Crusader. It's just Ali being Ali. Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens taking on Big E and Xavier Woods. Stereo super kicks by Kevin Owens, like uber quickly into the match. Senton for a 2. Super kick and a blue thunder bomb by Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens for a 2. Frog splash by Owens for a 2. Woods tried to fight back, but he gets right into a crossface. Great enziguri by Woods. A rolling facebuster by Woods. I freaking love that move. It's so cool. Hot tag to Big E, and Big E went absolute ham on everybody. Double team splash by the New Day. Looked really good. There was a crazy leg drop for a 2. Huge boot to the face of Xavier Woods. Just did not look fun. Helluva kick and pop-up powerbomb for Big E to get in there before the 3 count, because that would have been a 3. Spear through the ropes by Big E. And then Kevin Owens hit the stunner for the win, which I thought was odd, but this was a really, really good match. Ricochet versus Samoa Joe for the United States Champion. This was the match of the night. Holy crap, what a match. Ricochet slips during his entrance. Looked like shit. That's probably the worst you're going to see from this match the whole time. Joe kicks Ricochet really hard, just like multiple times. Ricochet tried to fight back, but Samoa Joe drives him into the apron. A Uranagi for a 2. Elbow step up enziguri for a 2. Lift powerbomb for a 2. There was a backflip and then a step up enziguri by Ricochet. Twisting moonsault taking out Joe. Looked awesome. There was a snap power slam by Joe for a 2. German suplex clothesline by Joe. There was a trying to do that flip again, but Samoa Joe throws him over, and God, Ricochet did not land nicely. Conquista clutch, but Ricochet had a great counter for it going over the ropes. There was a code breaker, and then the 630 splash for Ricochet to win the United States Champion. Holy crap, what a match. This was so freaking good. You have no idea. I would recommend, if you're going to watch any of these matches, this is the one to watch. Daniel Bryan and Rowan taking on Heavy Machinery for the SmackDown Tag Team Champions. Otis and Rowan start out. Bryan gets the tag in immediately on Rowan and kicks Otis in the leg a couple of times. Didn't really do anything. Gorilla press drop by Otis to Daniel Bryan. Great suplex spot. Crossbody by Rowan and a drop kick by Rowan just to show this guy's athleticism. Pop-up sit-out powerbomb for a 2. The yes kicks by Daniel Bryan, the crowd went ballistic for these, since they are in Washington. Grew up not too far away. Otis gets pumped up, though, during the kick, so he was starting to do his little gyrations and whatever. Belly-to-belly suplex by Otis. The Caterpillar and double team move by Heavy Machinery for a 2. Moonsault, tremendously fucked up by Tucker. He still hit it, even though he wasn't supposed to. It's kind of hard to do it when the guy rolls the opposite direction, which is super weird for Daniel Bryan since he's a veteran. He should know that you don't roll away from the moonsault, you roll towards the moonsault. Rowan and Otis stare down, and then they just start doing shoulder tackles. Nobody's budging. Rowan tried to do for that crossbody, but Otis caught him into a front slam. Tried to go for the compactor, but Tucker got absolutely ruined over the top rope. Daniel Bryan hitting a big top rope knee to Otis. Crossbody to take out Rowan by Tucker, which actually was really cool. And finally, Daniel Bryan rolls up Tucker for the win. Daniel Bryan and Rowan are still the SmackDown Tag Team Champions. It was a fun match. The crowd was really into it. They booed the Heavy Machinery. They cheered Daniel Bryan and Rowan. And everybody really showed some good stuff. Heavy Machinery looked really good in this match. I will have to say that. Bayley versus Alexa Bliss for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Bayley, a house of fire from the word go again. Alexa Bliss driving Bayley into the corner to get back into the match. Graves was really getting on my fucking nerves at this point. A lot of people were saying that Graves is just not doing well, and it's really pissing me off. Graves, shut up. If you're not going to contribute, just shut up. And being this heel whatever is not helping you. The Bliss stomps. Huge right hand by Alexa Bliss to stop Bayley's momentum coming back. Shoulder into the steel post. Twist over into a Saito suplex by Bayley to get back into the match. Sunset flip into the turnbuckle. Suicide dive by Bayley to Nikki Cross, actually. There was a sunset bomb on the floor by Alexa Bliss. Nikki Cross distracts the ref for some reason. Alexa Bliss was about to win, going for the Twisted Bliss, but Nikki Cross just was like, no, I'm going to distract the referee and fuck you up. Double knees to the Twisted Bliss, and Bayley hits the Bayley to belly for the win to retain. It was a meh match. Alexa Bliss shouldn't have gone for the belt in the first place, but I'm glad that there was some tension between Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. Bayley can go on to something else. We're all good in the neighborhood. Roman Reigns versus Drew McIntyre. This match was really long and really boring for the most part. McIntyre attacks Reigns before the bell even sounded, before he even got in the ring. Reigns went flying over the top rope, taking out McIntyre. McIntyre taking Reigns out after Roman Reigns was chasing Shane McMahon around. There was a belly-to-belly throw by McIntyre, just looked really good. There was a "this is awful" chant during this match, and the commentators were trying to say that they were saying that Shane is awful. No, they were saying that this is awful. Spinebuster and a jackknife pin by McIntyre. Big time suplex for a 2, showing McIntyre's strength again. Samoan drop to get back into the matchup by Reigns. Going for the Superman punch, but Shane McMahon eats the Superman punch. There was a dive, but missed into the modified Alabama slam. Oh, God. This was nasty. Spinning side slam after the Alabama slam for a 2. A superplex by McIntyre for a 2. Glasgow kiss by McIntyre. Superman punch by Reigns for a 2 after McIntyre went off the top rope. It was really good. Spear for a 2, and Shane McMahon was getting involved at this point, barely hitting the coast to coast. There was a Claymore counter into the Superman punch, and finally a spear by Reigns for the win. We're moving on. This match, it was an okay match. They just have to stop with the Shane McMahon thing, I'm telling you. Dolph Ziggler versus Kofi Kingston in a steel cage match for the WWE Championship. Great dropkick by Ziggler out of the gates to start the match. Slingshots Kofi, but Kofi Kingston grabbing onto the cage, trying to get out of there, but Ziggler stops him. Dropkick by Kingston for a 2. Kingston gets crushed into the buckle and then flown into the cage. It did not look fun. The face of Kingston getting grinded into the steel, driving Kingston face first into the cage. Kingston getting back into the match with some, his general comeback stuff. Ziggler went face first into the steel, not once, not twice, but 3 times, showing Kingston's tenaciousness in this match. Looking for the Famouser, but got caught into the cage. Actually, that looked really good. Springboard crossbody by Kingston for a 2. They start going back and forth with some big right hands. Super kick, but Kingston was about to fall out of the cage. Ziggler caught him quick. Thank God, because Kingston was out of it. He would have just slid right out. Trouble in Paradise countered into the ankle lock by Ziggler. Zigzag for a 2. Ziggler gets close on getting out of the ring, but Kingston keeps him. Ziggler kicks Kingston away. He was about to leave, but Kingston leaped over Ziggler, flops on the floor, and wins the match that way. I have never seen an ending of a steel cage match like that. It was a really good ending to an okay match. I won't say it's good. I won't say it's great. It was good. Or it was okay. That's what I said. Yeah. It was an okay match. They need to stop Ziggler with the WWE Championship rivalry. I kind of wish he had an opportunity to build up to it, because people have totally denounced Ziggler as a contender because of this. Seth Rollins versus Baron Corbin for the WWE Universal Champion. Lacey Evans was a special guest referee, which I did not expect whatsoever. Baron Corbin attacking Rollins with a chair before the bell sounded, and Lacey Evans just let it happen. Corbin destroys Rollins on the outside of the ring. Lacey Evans not doing any kind of count, just waiting for them to get back into the ring. Drives Rollins into the turnbuckle really, really hard. It was really Corbin for the majority of this match. Rollins tried to get something going, but he got uppercut into the throat. Rollins sold this beautifully. It was a really good sell. Ducks under the Corbin clothesline and hits the enziguri by Rollins. Obviously, that's a spot we've seen 1,000 times because we've seen these two wrestle 1,000 times. Suicide dive and a super kick to the face of Baron Corbin, but Lacey Evans went down for a 2. Going really slowly on it, obviously playing to the heel factor. There was a right hand on an airborne Seth Rollins, looked awesome. Powerbomb through the announcer's table. Rollins tried to get a count out, but Lacey Evans, as soon as she got to 8, called over the announcer and said that there are no countouts in this match, just randomly. Caught the suicide dive into the chokeslam on the apron, and then another chokeslam in the ring for a 2. Top rope splash, but Evans hurt herself during the pinfall. I thought that was really clever. Corbin using the chair again. Lacey Evans just letting it happen. And all of a sudden makes it a no disqualification match because reasons. There was a Falcon Arrow on the chair, but Evans wouldn't go down for the pin. Evans slapping Rollins twice. And then as Baron Corbin was trying to get back into it, Rollins turns around and gets a low blow by the referee. Finally, there was an end of days, but with all this excitement, Becky Lynch finally getting into the ring, defending her boyfriend, attacking Lacey Evans. With all this craziness, another referee gets in. Seth Rollins hits the stomp for him to retain. They are definitely setting up a mixed tag team match with Baron Corbin and Lacey Evans taking on Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins, probably for both belts. I wouldn't be surprised. The main event was okay. I knew exactly what I was going to be getting into with this main event, but it wasn't terrible. For this entire show, my opinion, the matches were good. Everybody worked really hard. The crowd was actually really behind it, but it just feels so unnecessary to have this. I kind of wish they had just one pay-per-view, like Extreme Rules or even Stomping Grounds, not next weekend, but the weekend after, because Extreme Rules now is in 3 weeks. So many pay-per-views all at the same time. There's so much going on with WWE, and that's why a lot of people didn't like this. But for me, personally, as a part of like the show itself, I liked it. I liked this pay-per-view. It was paced well. It was very short. It was like 3 hours and 17 minutes, which actually is not bad. And there wasn't like an outwardly terrible match. So I can't say it was bad. But I thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. Follow this channel by subscribing to it. And share this with your friends. As always, be majestic and stay tuned for Peanut Gallery's review right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Peanut Gallery's reaction to WWE Stomping Grounds. Between all the bullshit with the storyline build-ups, all the horrible ideas that came across with this pay-per-view, and the fact that it is between a pay-per-view that happened 2 weeks ago and one that happens again 2 weeks from now. This is WWE Stressful Grounds. So let's start off with how stressful this entire pay-per-view was. It was very stressful. It actually pained me to watch this pay-per-view in parts. Let's start out with some of the more redeeming factors with the Cruiserweight Championship match, which has now taken its rightful place as the pre-show match. It was wonderful. The match was actually pretty good. Drew Gulak, Tony Nese, and Akira Tozawa. A lot of great spots. There isn't much to complain about the Cruiserweights because they actually put on some good work. Drew Gulak won in about 11 minutes and 20 seconds. Nice paced match. The opening match of the night, Becky Lynch versus Lacey Evans. This was also an okay match, despite the fact that Lacey Evans is still an overhyped rookie. You know, kind of like our favorite overhyped rookie, Ronda Rousey. Becky Lynch again won. Defeated Lacey Evans with submission, about a millisecond of a hold, which is wine. I really was hoping that this rivalry would be over by this point in time. One of those rematches, but based on what happened at the end of the show, I really don't think that's going to happen. The next match was Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn versus The New Day, consisting of Big E and Xavier Woods. Pretty typical standard tag team bout. Not much to say here. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, of course, put on a great show, and Xavier Woods and Big E, they're a great tag team. The next match was arguably probably one of the best matches of the night. Ricochet versus Samoa Joe. A long time coming. I did not like the build-up for this match, but I liked the match that resulted from it. This is what you get when you get two world-class competitors in the ring promoting their very distinctive styles of wrestling. 12 minutes and 25 seconds after the bell rang, Ricochet won the United States Championship. They obviously did that because all the NXT guys want to leave and go to AEW. They should still do that. They only did this to appease those who were thinking about leaving. NXT is still better. Stay there as long as possible. The next one, Daniel Bryan and Rowan, who were the faces in this match, defeated the Heavy Machinery, which were the heels in this match, because Washington. 14 minutes and 25 second match. It was a pretty good match. A lot of great spots. Still one of your typical tag team matches, but it was very effective. Alright, so now we go on to the SmackDown Women's Champion match. I still don't know how I feel about Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross's little friendy friend going on, but I do like this rivalry. It's very well built, and these competitors are very much in a class of their own. And it kind of showed. It wasn't the best match of the night by any stretch of the imagination, but it's really hard to go up against Ricochet and Samoa Joe and the Steel Cage match, which I will talk about later. Now let's get to the meat of the product here. Shane McMahon has his sausage going around everywhere. This time his little fuck buddy is Drew McIntyre. And they were facing off against Roman Reigns, who is just a lousy competitor. Although the match was pretty good, I don't like having Shane McMahon around. I really just want him off my television screen. This Roman Reigns and Drew McIntyre is actually a pretty good rivalry, considering that these two competitors have a very similar moveset, very similar style of wrestling. Both hard-hitting, more the grappler kinds, more the bruiserweight-ish kind of wrestling style. There's a lot of spots, too. It's a very spotty match, but that's with the Shane McMahon encounters that Roman Reigns had. I don't want Shane McMahon to be on my television screen any longer, but we all know that he's going to be back on my television screen for the next pay-per-view, which is in 3 weeks, actually, not 2 weeks, but 3 weeks, with the entry of Extreme Rules. Whoop-de-fucking-do. One of the highlights of the night, Kofi Kingston versus Dolph Ziggler, is actually one of the longest matches of the night. Kofi Kingston's great, Dolph Ziggler's great. Putting them in a steel cage was amazing. So many good spots, very much back and forth. And the way that it ended was an interesting way to end it, but I liked it. I like this rivalry. This is probably one of the redeeming factors of this pay-per-view. But again, it's just one of those pay-per-views that was sorely not needed. There's no reason to have this. And then we go to the main event. Because Vince McMahon is such a fucking genius that he has to have Seth Rollins and Baron Corbin in the main event. And I'm not complaining about Seth Rollins. I'm complaining about Baron Corbin. Good Lord, this guy is not a main event competitor. Yet. But Baron Corbin's cock is shoved so far into Vince McMahon's mouth that Vince McMahon is willing to do anything for him to come. And this is what he wants. And then let's talk about the special guest referee. I thought it was going to be someone amazing and someone interesting and someone special. No, it was Lacey Evans. I thought I had enough of her, but obviously we know what this is setting up for. They might as well have had a clock at the bottom right-hand corner counting down the time to when Becky Lynch was eventually going to interfere. In about 18 minutes into the match, Becky Lynch interfered. Man, this match went on way longer than I had hoped it went on. Seth Rollins and Baron Corbin. When you have a match with Baron Corbin, you know it is going to be bad. And boy, was it bad. At the end of the day, Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch, they saved the day. Hoop-de-fucking-law. And then the show ended. Hooray. Let's talk about some of the highlights of this pay-per-view. Some of the highlights, obviously, the aforementioned Ricochet versus Samoa Joe match. a great mix of styles. And this is a match that we wanted to see. Ricochet is hot, and Samoa Joe is hot. And they both put on a tremendous performance. Bayley and Alexa Bliss, very seasoned in the ring. It wasn't the best match of the night when you compare it up against some of the men's matches, but it definitely was the stronger of the two women's matches of the night. And despite the fact that Alexa Bliss might be recovering from some injuries, there wasn't a lot of bullshit interference or anything like that. It was just Bayley, Alexa Bliss in the ring for the most part, duking it out. Done. The Roman Reigns versus Drew McIntyre match, despite all of its spots, was still actually a pretty good back and forth kind of match. There wasn't as much Shane McMahon interference as I was thinking there was going to be. I mean, I thought it was just going to be like a 2-on-1 handicap match, which I guess is happening at Raw tomorrow night, so watch out, folks. This is happening. I thought that they all hit their spots, and you can tell that Roman Reigns and Drew McIntyre really do gel pretty well in the ring. When they hit their spots, they hit them pretty well. Shane McMahon, on the other hand, well, all right, sit down for a glass of wine, folks. Let's talk about how bad Shane McMahon is at pretty much everything in life. And then, obviously, we can't talk about some of the highlights without talking about Kofi Kingston, Dolph Ziggler. Again, a very spotty match, but they told a great story inside the ring. Very back and forth. With it being a steel cage match, you kind of have the expectation that it is going to be a spotty match, but at the end of the day, the right person won. Now let's talk about some of the lowlights of this match. And how can we forget the elephant in the goddamn room, which is Seth Rollins and Baron Corbin. Holy fucking Jesus, sweet Mary, Mother of God. This match was awful. It was so poorly executed. Lacey Evans as the special guest referee, it really was an idea. It was like you put the entire WWE creative process into one match and you say, this is the creative process of WWE. It's fucking terrible. But look, let's change the match. Let's change this rule. Let's change that rule. And of course, Corey fucking goddamn fucking Graves was trying to defend this mediocrity for some strange goddamn reason. I mean, Renee Young had to tell him to shut up or to stop. It's because it's garbage. Your shit is so garbage. Your girlfriend is fucking garbage. It's just awful how bad you try to make yourself into a heel announcer. It's not that hard. I mean, you cannot defend this mediocrity that's happening right in front of your face, and you try to do it to save your goddamn job. At least the referees did a better job than you ever will. And we just had to witness fucking Saudi Arabia show 2 weeks ago. That was awful. And then we had the spottiest fucking, I don't even know what to describe it as. The ref work at the previous pay-per-view before that was garbage. But your announcing work is terrible. You try to defend the most mediocre of superstars, and it just doesn't work, and no one gives a fuck about your opinion as a result. Alright, so, another bad match. I'm going to go with Roman Reigns and Drew McIntyre was a low point. And it's not because of the work that Roman Reigns and Drew McIntyre do. They're obviously workhorses. They will go out there and they will put on the best show that they can put on with the styles that they have. But Shane goddamn McMahon needs to be off my goddamn television. Like, now. I don't want him to be involved. You have a whole goddamn locker room in the back full of goddamn talents, but you cannot seem to come up with a single idea for half your goddamn roster. Hello? Hello? You had 45 extra minutes at least of pay-per-view time. 45 minutes. You could put at least three good matches in that 45-minute span, but you didn't because you have no creative ideas and no creative juices flowing. Suck it. And again, you had Corey Graves suck so much dick that I'm sure he was just choking on it. Shame. Oh. Yeah, fuck you, Corey Graves. And the other matches were very forgettable. So, in conclusion, this entire pay-per-view, it was forgettable. The only title that changed hands was Ricochet and Samoa. Was Ricochet who won the United States champion, and then Drew Gulak. But no one watches 205 Live because no one gives a fuck. And Ricochet versus Samoa Joe could have easily happened on a Raw. There was literally no reason for this goddamn pay-per-view to exist. It was just there to screw people out of more money. There were so many rematches, which was awful. And then you're trying to promote this next pay-per-view, which happens in 3 fucking weeks. And why can't you wait 3 goddamn weeks to build some compelling goddamn... And it's fucking Extreme Rules. Hello? Hello? There's no reason that you need to curtain off half of the goddamn arena because you want to put on a pay-per-view for the sake of having a fucking pay-per-view. Why can't you just wait 3 weeks? That's what I would have done. I don't know. But, you know, the WWE doesn't care about any of our opinions. I didn't hear any AEW chants, though, which was fine. I'm sure we'll hear it the next pay-per-view, though. Because I am almost guarantee you that half of these matches that happen on the card tonight are going to be goddamn fucking rematches. In fact, I can name rematches that are going to happen. Seth Rollins versus Baron Corbin. Whoop-de-fucking-do. Kofi Kingston and Dolph Ziggler. Roman Reigns and someone from this whole fucking thing with Drew McIntyre, Shane McMahon butt buddy thing. Bayley and Alexa Bliss. That's definitely going to be a rematch. Ricochet and Samoa Joe and possibly putting Rey Mysterio in there. That is going to be a goddamn rematch. And then, of course, our favorite Becky Lynch versus Lacey Evans again for the Raw Women's Championship. Well, hootie fucking law. So, I give this literally there were some pretty good matches on this card, but I give it a 2. 2 out of 5 stars. It's not very good. No build-up, bad rivalries, horrible storytelling. You can just tell that these fucking people in Titan are so out of touch with the way that the world is these days. I mean, I could have written a better pay-per-view drunk than they did while being sober, working 40 hours a week. So I hope you enjoyed this scathing reaction of this god-awful pay-per-view. And we'll see you next time for what hopefully is going to be a better pay-per-view. Because fucking Impact can do just a good job as this. This was garbage. Hello? Wake the hell up. Wake the hell up.